Now, if the next group looks a little bit like me, that's for a reason. They are me. My great uncle Ray Smith was here earlier. Uncle, are you still sitting right in front of me? Right there. That is our Shunkukwedi elder Ray Smith, now living in Anchorage. Originally from Yakutat area, Dry Bay, which is where my house, the Thunderbird House, comes from. The Mount St. Elias dancers were organized by Olaf Abraham, Charlie White, Peter Frank, Nick Milton, and Harry Bremner in 1955. These 5 men decided it was time to teach their future generations the traditional song and dances. The Mount St. Elias Dance Group is composed of the descendants of the original 5 clans of Yakutat, the Kalakagwantan, Kwashkakwan, Lukhnahadi, Shunkukwedi, and Tekwedi. They also have with us now the Wushkitan clan. Some of the songs that you will hear tonight are over 1,000 years old and have been handed down to the dance group. Let's welcome the Mount St. Elias dancers.
Hello again. After ku gonna chishi yak sakai yak shakakau. Konak yi han yi jis yakak tutle. Gonna chish yat yati. I'd like to thank my elders here. I think these young people are really going to dance, and it's for the elders, as you heard and see. We are the Mount St. Elias dancers, and we come from the Yakutat area. Yakutat is one of the most beautiful places you can find because it's all sand beach and the mountains are 11 miles back. There's 5 tribes that used to be the landowners. The land extended from Katella down to Latuya Bay, 263 miles of coastal land owned by the 5 tribes. And we have, like it's mentioned, some other tribes with us now. But we each had our own sets of songs, incoming and outside songs. And when you sing the outside songs, it's generally to a place where a potlatch is being held. And they tell you a year ahead of time so you can get your regalias finished, your songs finished, and your food. So we feel that they gave us 2 years to come down here to this potlatch. And I think we're prepared. But I'd like to call on the dancers and see if they are here. Turn it on! They're here? They generally beat on the house also, I forgot to say that. But from the Yakutat area, we have a very proud heritage handed to us by our forefathers. The Russians, when they came to our country, they said the Klingons are very hostile people, but we would not work for them. In fact, in the Yakutat area, we burnt their forts down and drove them right out of Yakutat. And we always hold on to our land. Land is the number one law among our people. That's why every warrior always carried his knife. And this dispute over a boundary up in the northern area, which we fought with those people, and they, in turn, established what we know as the spear dance, which we use. And we had people with armor. So we'd like to come in on the spear dance. Good. Each one of our tribes sometimes invited to the other tribe's country, land, and they would think up of all kinds of different dances and compose different songs. And it's always a competition. And once in a while it gets to be a big competition between the eagles and the ravens trying to outdo each other. But that's the way our way of life is. And we really try to keep the balance in our culture. But the next one was brought down by the northern tribe for our area. And when it came out, it took everybody by surprise. It's what we call our jumping song. And we'd like to do for you, have these young men, but they have to be a little careful. Gook. The paddle had become the symbol of the Kalinga people in Southeast because we used to row from one area to another. In our area, we used to row all the way down to Washington, all the way up to Kodiak, I understand. And so the paddle became the symbol of the people there. But also, one thing it signifies is that if a war canoe left your area to go to another part of the Southeast or wherever, and when it's coming back, if any of the warriors on board had been killed, when the war canoe is coming close to home, they would stand a paddle in the place of the man who was killed. And when the canoe came into the Bay of Yakutat, the families could stand on the beach and look at the canoe, and they knew by a paddle that was sticking in the air that somebody had been killed and he brought home. But we lost a lot of people this last year, and also we lost one of our clan fathers, Mr. John Bremner. And so we would like to do the paddle song of the war canoe and hold a paddle in his place. His grandson is holding the paddle. Goop. I think the next song, it's something that is being fought throughout Alaska. And sometimes we're happy and sometimes we're sad. And this is what we call our subsistence song. If you ever go to the beach, and I know all people go to the beach, especially when it's really minus tide, and you get there and you look at all the clams and cockles and seaweed, and you're very happy. And you go around from one area to the other picking your food. But then when the tide comes up, you are really sad, and you cover your eyes. And so with that, we would like to do for you what is known as the little crows on the beach, and they hop around and really happy when the tide is way down. I think the young ladies would like to do another one for you. Song composed by a gentleman who went to the Dry Bay area, and he fell in love with a beautiful girl over there. And when he got back to Yakutat, he composed what is known as the honey song. And so I tell him to look for a honey and sing to him. invited to a potluck, sometimes the invitation comes down a year ahead of time, so they give you time to get your songs, dances, and your food ready. But when you get to the potluck, you are seated by rank. The Tlingit people were very rank conscious. There was the upper class, the high class, royal blood, the middle class, the family, regular family, and then down below the ladder was the servants, which we obtained from different places. But when you come to the potluck, the head man of each community house is seated at the head of the table. All the people in his house are seated accordingly. When they bring the food out, they say, "You talk to Utin," to whatever that person and the people that stay in his house. And in the olden days, they had to get up and dance. And so we would like to do for you what we call around the dish dance. You do it, you do it, I think we're going to change the tempo of the what we'd like to do is an invitational, and it's the Simsian double beat. We would like to have you come up on stage, or we would like to have you stand up right where you're at, because it's a double beat. And I think most of you know the Simsian songs as they go. But sometimes we are called the interior Indians because we used to travel through the Alsac Trail back into the interior. And the people from Dry Bay, especially the coho salmon, the sockeye salmon, and the Thunderbird people were called Kwan, people who went into another clan. And so it was when those people used to come down to our area. They'd come to our village for early in the spring and stay there all summer, and then they would decide at a certain time to go back into the interior. And down outside of Yakutat is all sand beach, and they'd come down there on the day that they're going to go back. And they would walk back down the coast, clear back into the interior. But, I think I have two young gentlemen here that had the honor and the privilege to join a group that we are very fond of, because the gentleman who is the leader of that group is the ones who made our box drum, and they had the privilege of appearing with them, and they would like to say thank you at this time.
Hello, everybody. My clique name is Don Kish. As you can see, I'm from Yakutat. I want to thank David Boxley for inviting us to perform with him. It was awesome. Woo! Thank you, guys.
An Kuish Yuchat Duasa Chakna Gachich Kagwantan Ayachat. I'd like to say Gunach Chish to David for allowing us to perform with him today and for making these box drums that sound awesome. Gunach Chish!
But during the Russian time, there was a lot of different tribes that used to come up to our area. What we call the Dekina used to come up to our area. And Dekina are the people who live on the island way out from Masset and Run. And then we had the Simpsons who came from Port Simpson. And we had the interior people come to our place. And then we had another Canadian nation that used to come up, and the Elias used to come down. So we got dances, and we used to dance for 3 days, and then we'd go party, whatever you wanted to do. But we'd like to take our exit song from the group that left it in Yakutat, and they were going to come back next year and reclaim, but something happened, and we would like to do what we call the blanket dance in the exit song.